Hello everybody and welcome to the webinar, How You Can Benefit from Becoming a Master Black Belt. This is Rick Haynes. I'll be giving the webinar today. Because of weather here in Austin, I'll be by myself, so I will introduce myself as I go into it. I'm a Master Black Belt, a statistician. I've been working at Smarter Solutions for about 7 years. My career has spanned nearly every aspect of Lean and Six Sigma. I've worked in a research and development company. I've been in a services company and in manufacturing. Plus, I think I've had students in nearly every genre or type of project you could ever imagine. So along with this, I'm going to talk to you about becoming a Master Black Belt, but also this really responds to a lot of different aspects of Lean and Six Sigma. So here we go. Couple things. Housekeeping stuff. We should keep this just about an hour, if not a little under. It'll depend on your questions, and I do welcome your questions. Please type them in using interface with GoToMeeting, or I guess GoToWebinar in this case. I will answer them by typing. If they're great, I'll talk to them I'll talk to the whole group about it. This will be recorded. You can download it on our website later. You will also get an email about 24 to 48 hours after this webinar if you have signed up and you want to listen to it again or share it with other people. Let's get into it. First of all, you may also have your idea, but what is the difference between a black belt and a master black belt? Because I'll tell you, sometimes when I try to explain it to non-Lean Six Sigma folks, especially if they've got a little martial arts background, it gets sort of fun. What are some thoughts on it? Well, of course, you could say it's the word master. Well, that means you're really you have mastery of the Lean Six Sigma topics. But other than that, it's really not well defined. Most master black belts get trained within companies. There is a body of knowledge that ASQ puts out, but it does vary a lot. And our view of it here at Smarter Solutions is really the master side of it is when you start stepping away from projects and you're more dealing with the business side of business process improvement. I've always looked at when I teach the class, and I'm one of the instructors here at Smarter Solutions for it, that a master or a black belt spends their career getting very good at the business providing them a problem statement. I admit most of us have to refine it ourselves, but looking down at the process to eliminate something, a problem, make it more efficient or whatever, but you're process focused the whole time. Most black belts don't sit there and go, why did they give me this project? Because we are doing our job, which is improvement. But a master black belt, if you could see me now, you'd physically see me look at the ceiling. Master black belts start looking upward and asking the 5 whys, but it's why did I do that project? Why does the business need this? Because now we're trying to bridge the difference from the business to the Lean Six Sigma program. So you look upward, why problems are put together, but it also helps you lead the business, and there becomes a whole business management aspect. Our Lean Six Sigma course looks less like a Six Sigma course than it does an MBA course. Spend a lot more time on the business. So what they really do, Master Black Belts in most places are organizational leaders. They may be the program lead for the business process improvement group. Some of them do run really big projects or really manage a lot of smaller projects into a single umbrella. But you're also selling to your organization why they need your group. Sometimes you're selling to a new department, why should they involve Lean Six Sigma in their group? And you're a role model for others. Most of us running projects become secondary, and what's odd is that's probably why we got to this job, because we loved running projects. But you'll see as a Master Black Belt, you can do your job well and really influence a lot of other people to do their job well. Other aspects, many Master Black Belts are also instructors, said program leaders. If you're lucky, you become a staff member for your executives in the C-suite to give them advice on how to employ improvements. Many times you're a consultant internally, and like I said earlier, major project managers. We recognize that and prepare you for all of them. I'm going to go back. I was at a conference last week with the Process Excellence Network. The whole company went. We were talking about business process management, Lean Six Sigma. I was happily surprised that many of the people that walked up to talk to us were Master Black Belts that were now management positions. They'd leveraged their improvement skills, became a Master Black Belt, showed management that they could lead. They understood the business. They were moved into senior management positions. It was wonderful. It reminds me why this is more than just a business improvement topic, and I really believe it. The hard part is most of you, if you're listening to this webinar, really aren't ready to be a master black belt. But like all things we do, you got to start somewhere. Now, many master black belts before you get in the program are actually working as one. They're leading the program. They're the lead black belt. They may already be an internal consultant. But you will gain more out of this class even if you're working there, because we don't need all of the competencies right away. You get them as you go. This leads to the first question. We'll have a couple live questions during this webinar that I guess they're called polls, and I'll ask you to answer stuff. I'm going to get this up here, select the poll, and there we go. First question, what roles would you like to be involved in if you become a master black belt? There's 5 choices here: an instructor, a program leader, an executive staff member, an internal consultant or project mentor with other belts, or leading big projects. So I appreciate you to click. You get as many as you want. You can select all of them if you like. But this gives an idea of what the group is that we're talking to you right now, what you're looking for in being a master black belt. As I look at here, the internal consultant mentor is is the most popular choice right now. I'll give you about 5 more seconds here and we'll wrap it up. Instructors at the bottom. That's always fun, because I'll tell you, being an instructor, you become a better everything if you have to teach at once. Here, I'm going to close the poll up now and post it so you can all see it. You should see it on your screen now. As you'll see, what happened is the top 2, consultant and project leader, were the top ones, but really everybody wants a little bit of everything, with instructor being the bottom. I'm going to hide it and we'll move on. Now, all of those roles are important. But I'll tell you, sometimes a master black belt, you have to ask for what you want. And if you get a chance to be an instructor, not everybody's meant to be an instructor. Try doing it with somebody, and the act of standing up in front of a bunch of class or students and answering questions can really make you better at your job. But thank you for that. My story. My story is, I guess, it's a path that is uniquely to me, but I became a black belt at Texas Instruments. I got my certification in 1991, way back when Motorola was granting certifications. We were working with them, and I was here in Austin. And at that time, a black belt was really just a facilitator. I was an engineer. There was no projects. There was no dollars. There wasn't any of the martial arts of just black belts. Our job was to help other business teams to be successful. From there, I moved up to be the site engineering manager and got my statistics degree. Liked that so much, I moved to the Department of Energy that Bechtel was running to become a statistician. They found they wanted to do Six Sigma, and of course, they look at your resume, and they invited me to be a master black belt. So from that point, I was a master black belt. Immediately, I hadn't been any better at my job anywhere, but I started getting invited to staff meetings. I had VP sponsorship. I was now engaged in a lot higher beyond my pay grade helping people. The general manager for our site, that's equivalent of the president of the company, became my friend. I was his advisor. We talked all the time. I was still of a moderate pay grade, and nothing had changed other than I was now classified differently. I became an executive coach for all the executives on how they can treat their employees, how to best employ Lean Six Sigma. It was fun. In the end, I got pulled out of my job and started working quality issues. It was a fun path. I became a worldwide corporate trainer for Bechtel, which actually left my site. Best part of that for you guys is they sent me to Las Vegas to teach about 10 weeks a year. Good place to be on a company training class. Fun one was leading strategic planning sessions, because all of a sudden you're safe to the top leadership. They call you in to manage their meetings. But the bottom line is I worked and advised people that made twice what I made plus roles I never really wanted to have, but my skills hadn't changed. I had a new stamp on my, I guess my resume said Master Black Belt. Instantly, I was their benefit, I was a pal. Now, the stories like this can go through many people. Yours may be different if you choose this path, but many of our students have used their MBB certification to jump fields, to move into management. As I said at the conference we were at, many of these VPs and senior managers were all past Master Black Belts that were leveraging to be very successful. That's a path we all have with this certification. One guy in the middle bullet here, one of our students took this, got his MBB just so he could get out of the Six Sigma program because he wanted to be a leader. So this got him into the leadership role on the business side, and they transferred him out. There's lots of things you can do with it. Now, we receive many calls about Master Black Belt courses. Now, a couple reasons are there aren't very many, but we have a pretty good one. We hear something about advancing your career. Some people just want to learn more. Some people have an assignment they have to get better at, so they're preparing for it. And one of them I'm seeing more and more is there's students that want to get a Master Black Belt so they can leave employees, becoming an employee and work as a consultant as they step away from regular 8-to-5 job. They're all good reasons. This leads to our next one, because I want to talk a little bit about why Lean and Six Sigma and the Master Black Belt stuff is really, it's more about the non, gosh, what am I saying? I'm struggling right here with my interface here. There we go. It isn't all about math like with some of our black belt stuff. So here's a new poll. What do you think is the ratio between hard skills and soft skills for Master Black Belt? Soft being the people skills, the project management. Well, hard would be the data analysis, the improve phase, and such as that. So where do you think to go? Is it about the 50-50 to some soft and a lot of hard, or a lot of soft and very little hard? But I also know there is not a right answer to this. A lot of it's got to do with where you work. We find manufacturing environments a lot more about data. Service industries a lot less hard, just there's less data around. We look at this, the most popular choice is the 70% soft skills. Give you a couple seconds more and I'll close the poll. Let's see, I should close it. And you should see it on your screen. Over half of you picked the 70% soft, 30% hard. Knowing that we're all black belts, that means the range is probably somewhere from 80 to 60% where you chose. I guess I could agree with that. I know that it's more than 50-50. I mean, I would argue if you'd ask me this question about being a black belt, I'm not sure if it's more about soft skills than hard skills too. My history of doing projects is always it's harder to make the change and deal with the people than it ever was to solve the problem. I'd probably go with the majority here that it probably is 70% soft skills that you learn in your Master Black Belt classes will make you very successful. Now, knowing that, going back to my presentation, I'm going to talk about the mix of hard and soft skills that we cover in our class. Now, some of this you'll say, I've seen that, multiple regression and ANOVA, and I think one of my favorite parts of teaching this is you've all seen the tools. What we spend the whole class time for this on is not about how to do a regression, but what type of data causes errors? What does it look like when it's not working right? How do you deal with missing data? How about outliers? What are the true requirements for residual analysis? And if you see it, what do you do with it? We spend a lot of time on these tools showing you how to deal with less than perfect data, complicated data. Let's say if the black belt course gave you the 80% solution, this will give you the next 15%. Some neat ones are the sensor data analysis, which comes from reliability. But if you can treat it in a project as what do you do when you have missing data? And there is the design of experiments piece. Now, I get in discussions with people out of the service industries. Well, I don't really need design of experiments. But I'll tell you, if you're going to be a Master Black Belt, you must thoroughly understand the basics of it. Because you may change jobs, you may have to coach somebody, but many of us weren't trained well enough to realize that there are some wonderful tools for this outside of manufacturing. We've got clients and great examples of courses of how they're used in the service industry, in sales. And probably the neatest one, I'll give you a free one here, is you can use design of experiments tools to build data collection plans. I find many longer-term black belts and master black belts use DOE more in the analysis phase to build a data collection plan than they would ever use. Oh, can you not see my picture, it says here? Oh. Maybe I haven't been showing my slides. I sure hope that's not true. We'll get back to it. That probably happened when I did the poll. But I'm talking about what master black belts would do. Really, a master black belt must communicate their skills to everybody. It's good to teach some. Even if you're not a teacher, you'll be teaching black belts here and there to help them through things. You should coach them. There's a communications piece that's really big. And probably the tougher one is selling ideas to their leadership. I talked to a couple master black belts last week that said they get it, they have a successful program, but they're having trouble continuing to sell it over and over again with their company. That's something we do teach a little bit in our classes about how to manage a program, but we give you some clues on how to really integrate your business so they no longer consider Lean Six Sigma a program. One friend I met a guy in my class that was one of my students from over 15 years ago, was managing the improvement program for the whole corporation he was with, and he was ready to do something else, and nobody wanted to take his job because they don't like the selling aspect of it. They all want to run projects. Just part of our life. But in this, you have to be able to work with people outside of your pay grade. One of the nice things I found as a master black belt is, and even as a black belt, all doors are really open to you if you choose to be proper with it. We do get a student here and there with some companies that are very hierarchical, and they don't like you going around your boss. But really, if you realize your goal is to solve a problem, you can go knock on somebody's door who's senior to you in another department. As long as they understand your purpose, that you're not really going around the chain of command, you're doing what they told you, you get to learn an awful lot about the company. You make a good network of movers and shakers, and you get your job done. What you really do as a master black belt, go work whoever you need to in the company. If you need to go talk to the CEO, you get an appointment, explain what's about, and talk to them about why things are going. How did you pick this project? You'd show respect, but you can get it done, and it's accepted generally in every company. Now, many MBBs manage their staff. Not necessarily as supervisors, but they're doing like a program manager, basically. They're leading the program improvements. They pick people for training. They manage their schedules. They're looking to integrate people back into the business. The bottom bullet there might be the biggest. We have to deal with the financial side of Six Sigma. Your history is anything like most of our students. It's dollarizing, costing the savings for a project becomes controversial. You really have to dig in and learn this as a master black belt. You have to sit with a financial guy, a controller or something, and really understand how they run the business. We actually get down in the master black belt talk at the classes talking like an MBA about what are the financial statements, how are things adjusted, and I think many students walk away with a better understanding of how the business makes decisions. If I was to give you another clue, I tell you right now that every decision involves money, either making it, spending less of it, or avoiding a penalty. When you get down to it, that's the goal of every strategy and almost every project we end up running. Master black belts come to realize that, and now they can deal with their leadership better, and they can actually give better advice. So it is an important one to learn the financials. Comes up to our next question. Question number 3. Now I'm going to go check if I have questions here. All right, I'm doing good. What part of the MBB skills I talked about are really in use within your business? So the stuff we talked about, the leadership and all that, of those skills, are they really used in your business? The leadership, the performance, what are they really used within your current management? I'm really getting you to get a goal of what you believe people would be doing within your business, because it also tells how much value you might be when you get there. So are all of these MBB skills used and working in your business, or not a lot of them? If I'm looking at the poll, this one's probably got a little bit more spread than most of them because businesses and organizations are so different. Some of you may be starting your improvement path, and some are very mature in it. We'll give you a few seconds here, and we'll close it up. Thank you for your participation. I'm going to close it, share it. What you'll see is 75% was the winner, but early on, nearly 0 was a high choice. What that means is many of you are probably working in areas that are already using the soft skills, the project skills. You have a program in place, and that's wonderful. But I'll tell you, the more of these skills you put in your skill set, and that's beyond the Black Belt Six Sigma skills, you will become more successful in your job and give you an ability to move on to the next job a little better. All right, next question. How many of you, I guess that's a rhetorical question, are asking yourself, but I already have all these skills. I'm already doing this. Why should I get a certification? No, I think that's a fair question. I sit there and ask myself that a lot, ASQ certifications. My response is not whether you should or shouldn't, but if you're not fully being recognized for your skills, sometimes it's the certification you need. And I think in my job history with Bechtel, that was what did it. Getting those 3 letters added to my title, all of a sudden I was an expert when I really didn't know anything more or anything less. So sometimes you need that outside validation of your skills. And that's also why many people choose an outsider for their Master Black Belt training, just so they get a recognition from someone outside, which, right or wrong, is given more credibility sometimes. So what is Master Black Belt training? I'll admit my training was inadequate the first time I was a Master Black Belt. They made me sit in on a class, then I had to co-teach a class, and then run a project, which to me is no different than a Black Belt project, and they anointed me a Master Black Belt. But that's what a lot of companies internally do it. Now, I'm older. There wasn't really classes out there to become a Master Black Belt. At the time, they were all internally created so that a company could eliminate their consultants. And that was the primary use for them, to become teachers. Right now, they've probably standardized more across industry. Most Master Black Belts must have had 3 to 5 years as a working Black Belt. Now, the reason they do that is they're hoping you can get 4 to 6 projects done and seeing enough breadth of what Six Sigma DMAIC projects are about, you don't have to teach that anymore. So the 3 to 5 years, even at Smarter Solutions, that's a soft requirement. I mean, if you have done that as a Black Belt, you're ready. But many people have more rapid execution of their projects. They get there quicker, but 3 to 5 is a good number. They generally have to get additional training. Now, when you're within a company, that's usually go out and take a stat course or something. Run an MBB project, which I've never understood what that is. It's still just a DMAIC project, and teach a course. This is the traditional way people are taught when they're inside a company. Now, what are the issues with that? I'll pause and let you think a minute. One is, if you're only taught by people within your company, that's all you'll know. There's lesser used tools. If the last new guy trains you, you won't ever get them. Generally, your project skills are only based on what you've been through to get there. The third one you may not have heard of. It's a Deming's funnel experiment, and Rule 4 of the funnel is it's a quality control tool to teach how the decisions you make manage the process change the outcome. And Rule 4 says every time I get a new response, I say, that's my new goal. So you're really hunting around. It's like the example I would use for painting your house. You're going to paint around your house. You buy 1 can of paint at a time because you don't have a lot of money. So as soon as that can's done, you run back to the paint store and say, make me another can of the same color. So they color match it. You paint the next can, you run back, you paint it, you keep going around. The question, will the color be the same when you match up with the other side of the house? And it never is. That's what Rule 4 is. You make the next one just like the last one over and over again. And that's one of the bigger problems with internal training, is that you only know a subset of what the guy who trained you did, or gal. And that is the reason Smarter Solutions can't really talk about the companies, but we are the internal trainers for MBBs in a couple cases. One large consulting firm uses us for their skills training in their Master Black Belt program because they have recognized that they don't want to keep trainers, but also they want someone giving them the full breadth of Master Black Belt experience in the class, because you never know what they will face when they arrive at their job. And the last one here is that good black belts don't always make good teachers if you're promoting people who run projects well to become teachers. Just some thoughts. Now our course. I personally think this is the funnest course I've ever taught. I don't even know if funnest is a word, but it's the best course. I enjoy it more than any other because you sit in a room of people who are all your peers with great experience, and everybody's got a different story to tell. We learn from each other. Because since we talk a lot about program management and your Lean Six Sigma skills are a little less talked about, it's more about the deployment of them, everybody's got their story and their lessons learned. I am better after every class, and every student gains from it. We have a mix of genre of workforces. We have manufacturing is generally a smaller segment in our classes, but we get service industries, we get education and government, all different styles. It's quite fun, and there's generally 2 or 3 people that are not from North America in our classes. So you really see how business applies outside of the country. We do talk advanced data analysis tools. A lot of the analysis, we start at what would have been your last lecture at a black belt course and move beyond it. We talk too about scorecards, and I'm finding a lot of Lean Six Sigma people are expanding into scorecards and performance reporting so that to help their business, because it turns out we're also really good at that stuff. Next to the people who are doing your scorecards aren't. They're generally IT guys, they're good databases. But we have the ability with our Six Sigma skills to really understand data, make decisions. Another one is advocacy. Now this I can talk about later slide is we bring in one of the tenured business professors from the University of Texas in Austin comes in and teaches a half-day class. It's a short one of a course he teaches to the MBA students about advocacy, and it's really about selling your ideas in business. I've heard him, I bet 25 times, learn something every time. What he's really talking about is how to do change management in your organization. So how to drive change when you have no authority but lots of responsibility. We also talk about interactions with people. We have another half day with a licensed psychologist who comes in and talks about the Myers-Briggs type inventory. To me, that's how to deal with individuals. We have an instructional skills train about teaching, adult learning, and we do some mentoring skills to help you better mentor. This is all in a 2-week course that we teach for 4.5 days each week. A little about our guest speakers. Dr. John Daly, not the golfer, speaks on advocacy. Wonderful. He's got a textbook out on it, and it is one of the most empowering things of our whole course. Even if I'm teaching this, he usually comes up as the best part of each class that week he speaks. But he does teach you how to get things done, how to navigate through the bureaucracy, and to sell your ideas in a business. Dr. Grant, the psychologist, speaks about the Myers-Briggs type inventory, and you walk away after a half day of that understanding that people are motivated differently. Most people realize why they've had teams that struggled, why some changes didn't happen, and it really was how you dealt with the individuals and the differences in the individuals in managing your team. Both great takeaways. Again, not about DMAIC, but about getting the Master Black Belt job done. One advantage we have here, and I think it's special for any of this is my 4th curricula I've taught or dealt with, and we actually have textbooks that match the course. If you sign up for our courses, you get all 4 of these volumes of the Integrated Enterprise Excellence book, which the first one's a summary, but the last 2 on this slide are the big ones for us. Volume 2, the business deployment, is really the how-to book to build a Lean Six Sigma deployment. It teaches you about how to integrate it with scorecards, how to build project selection so that they're strategically aligned. It talks about the business side of Lean Six Sigma, not about the DMAIC projects. The last book, Volume 3, is really about a DMAIC project. It exceeds the body of knowledge for ASQ and about any other one out there. It covers all the soft skills, all the hard skills. Nice thing is, as we go through the course, it's chapter by chapter by chapter, so every student gets a textbook that's indexed if they forget something to go back and get it. It has master black belt level knowledge. We use it for green belts, black belts, and master black belts. It does also help when you're teaching a green belt, and I can say, wow, you need logistic regression. Let's just open the book. I'll walk you through it and show you how to use it. There are a couple other materials we give you in this course. We have a project execution guide, which is our roadmap for solving projects, along with a description of every tool we use, templates, examples, and the reasons why, plus a couple lessons learned on what you should look for as you're running your project. What you probably cannot see well in the lower left, that multicolored pink to blue to green and, I guess, salmon, that's the entire roadmap for solving a project. I may not have said it earlier, but we do teach Lean Six Sigma, which means it's a blend of Lean and Six Sigma. We do not teach you to run Lean projects and then run Six Sigma projects. In our course, you won't be taught to lean it out and then Six Sigma it. What you'll be taught is that every project is a mix of both. So that's what we teach. This is a flow chart through it. You get a PDF of it in the course if you want. Also on the lower right, you'll see our enterprise deployment roadmap that talks about what Volume 2 does, about how to deploy Lean and Six Sigma tools, get a solid, strategically aligned program in place in your business. A lot of information. So now's our marketing type question, because of course we're looking for students in our Master Black Belt class. And I realize too, I haven't really got any questions. If you have any questions about what we're talking about, please just type it in on the interface and we'll talk about them. I've been too worried about talking and not been soliciting for questions. But here's our poll. When are you looking, are any of you looking to get Master Black Belt training? Because this course is really about doing it. I'm going to get a feeling of where it is in your horizon. So please answer. You get to pick one. Are you looking for the training soon? Maybe this year, maybe a follow-on year. And it might even be you're just considering, which would be sometimes. And I guess you're not looking for a course, but you just wanted to learn what it is. That's also one of your choices. We'd appreciate you giving an idea where you are on this. As I look at the poll, it's a good spread. A couple of you are just here for general information. Now, the bottom two, it is not useless to do this. I would tell you, even if you're a black belt and you're learning, you need to have some level of continuous education or you lose stuff. Webinars are a great way just to keep up on what's happening. I'm going to close the poll up here, so thank you for answering. What you'll find is we're in the 2014 to 2015 range. A couple said soon, maybe sometimes. But I want to get back to what I was saying. Thank you again for the poll. If you're in Lean and Six Sigma, you need to find a way to keep up on it. Because if all you do is run projects, you don't see the full breadth of everything we do. Find a way to keep up on it. Find a blog that you enjoy that talks about the subjects. Go to webinars like this. Read papers people put out. I mean, it's one of the fun parts of my job is the boss lets me write a blog for Master Black Belts. You'll find it on our website called Practitioner's Toolbox. It's under our resources. But I just write down questions students give and what the answers would be. It's really enjoyable for Master Black Belts that don't see it that much. It's always a thought. And again, I guess I jumped ahead, but you will never know everything in a 2-week course or a 4-week course or forever. This is a continually learning environment. Every project you'll learn a little bit more about your business and about just solving problems. Find things. We have a resource library, I think, well over 175. I think we're close to 200 now. There's webinars. Pay attention to stuff. Follow people on LinkedIn. Things like that. You have to keep some external source to keep you up on all the tools. We would like to be that source, but if it isn't, find one. Coming to the end. Oh, I did get a question. You can't see the slides. Oh, I wish you could. Make this a bit. Oh, there's a lot of questions. I haven't even noticed them. I apologize for that. Let me go through my questions. Do you have an online Master Black Belt course? We have considered it, but it turns out business schools are not doing online training. One of the things I did for work was put in a study about it. And it's very difficult to do the Master Black Belt topics online for the fact that a lot of it's interactive, relationship-based, and you have to talk stuff out. I know there's there's some good companies out there that do a mixture where you do a little online and a lot of classroom stuff, but we don't believe you can do enough online to get the soft side of Master Black Belt. So that's the best I got on that one. One person asked, what's your experience concerning the marketability of an MBB, and are people looking for these folks? And that's an interesting one. And I talked to a lot of people about that, especially the students, but I think it also parallels, are people looking for black belts? I think people are looking for people with the Master Black Belt skills in their business. There is not a lot of jobs to be a Master Black Belt as a primary job unless you're at a relatively large company that there's that much work to do. Most of them, like I found in this conference, were people with Master Black Belt skills who were using it to do their job better. So I think it's a great differentiator. It says you can do a lot, but I find a lot of my peers and people I've taught have gone into leadership roles and management for departments, divisions, or even businesses that are struggling that need to be turned around because we have those skills. So I think that's what I would say for that one. One person asked, we teach, what are the timings for them? I can talk to that right now. Don't have a slide for it because it changes. You can look on our website, smartersolutions.com. You'll see it on the bottom of the slides. There's a calendar that shows them all, but our next Master Black Belt class starts here in Austin on April 7th, which is a Monday, runs 4.5 days, gets done noon on Friday, and then starts again for a week 2 on May 5th. We try to run them about a month apart. So early April and early May, we have a second course in Austin, which starts on October 6th in the fall and ends on November, and the second week is November 3rd, so you still get home before Thanksgiving. We also have a class scheduled in Toronto. It's after that day, which starts on October 27th, ends in the second week is November 2nd, still before Thanksgiving. And I guess I have to pitch, and I was talking to a Master Black Belt I was certifying yesterday, Baltimore. We always offer these courses all over if we have a need. If you have a group of people in your hometown that want to take a Master Black Belt course and we can get enough, what we'll do is we'll teach the class there and invite people from our other classes over there instead. So we will we'll do it anywhere. I've taught it in Europe twice already. I guess that's it on the classes. Somebody said, can we see the slides and can we get ASQ certification credits? Oh, ASQ certification credits. If you want to get an ASQ or American Society Quality certification, again, they grant them for Green Belt, Black Belt, and Master Black Belt. Since originally all they did is provided certifications. They gave you a multiple choice test that you had to pass. I think it was a 75%. You got to pay them a lot of money. You have to turn in affidavits saying that you've run a DMAIC project. That's for Black Belt and Green Belt. When you look for Master Black Belt, they require you to do 2 essays on Master Black Belt topics. And they give you a general idea. One's about a program leadership question. One's about managing people on another project. But that's what's required. You have the body of knowledge to go do that out of our class, but we do not include it in the class. Anybody who wants an ASQ certification, I'd really recommend what you do is you go get a book of test questions from usually the Indiana Quality Council. Study up on the test because ASQ writes test questions unique to themselves, so you have to go practice them. Now, what we give everybody at the end of it is we don't really give CEU credits, but everybody who attends the class gets a certificate that has all the information that you can submit to ASQ and many of the other certifying authorities for continuing education credits and hours. Because it's clear what the class is, the body of knowledge is well known, we'll supply you an agenda if you need, but people from the Project Management Institute, ASQ, they can use these courses to show that they've been continuing their education for other certifications. I think that's through all my questions. All right. So what have we covered in the webinar? The roles. There's lots of roles. And we generally look at, again, there's an instructor, there's a program manager for the Lean Six Sigma program, there's also the person, master black belts that run large projects or sensitive ones, and then all three of them still mentor other belts. What are specific competencies? We talked about them. There's hard skills and soft skills, but the ones that we think that the master black belt gains more in training are the business skills. You have to be able to now navigate as if you were a business manager to make sure that your group works well. Talk a little bit about why certification matters. A lot of our questions came up on it too. It's for recognition of your skills to others. I get a lot of people say, oh, I'm a black belt or equivalent one because that's what I do, but they don't feel respected for it. The same goes for master black belts. But really, you have to learn things for all these certifications that you may not need, but getting the certification shows the breadth of what you do know and how they can use your skills to solve business problems. We've also talked about some ongoing learning opportunities. There's a lot out there. I think I've covered all the questions. Oh, here we go. It says another one came in, the Indiana Quality Council as a reference. You're right. It said ASQ does not use the Indiana Quality Council as a reference, but I'll tell you, they have the best study guides out there. ASQ does provide references for the material, and our textbook is one of them, considered a body of knowledge textbook. Plus, ASQ makes money by study classes you can get through your local chapter. And that's what's probably the most common. But I've taken them, and everybody I know says the Indiana Quality Council gives you the best books just of self-study. But if you can go to an ASQ class to study up, you're probably better off. Certification projects. Certification, I guess it didn't come up in this thing. Certification is tougher for a master black belt than it is for a black belt or a green belt because your job defines what you do a whole bunch more. We have 3 standard certification paths. You've got to take the class. One is you run a complex project that you use tools from the class in it. That's one path. Probably about half people use that. Another one we call it an IEE or Integrated Enterprise Excellence Project, which really what you're doing is you're building the structure behind a Lean Six Sigma program with a performance dashboards and scorecards built into it. In this case, we ask you to frame it all together, and all you just present it to your leadership. They do not have to adopt it, but that's also a master black belt skill if that's your role. One of my favorites, I call it the AIC project. At least one person a class going through there, we teach a couple in-depth analysis tools, and they go, oh my gosh, that makes sense. They'll pull out an old project, run their data, find a new cause, and generate a new improvement plan. So we've had people that do an add-on to a past project to get certified, and that works also. Those are the standard ones. We've made exceptions for people that have very special jobs. I think the toughest person I certified was a master black belt who worked at a consulting firm that his only job was to coach green belts to certification. He was managing 40 to 50 green belts continuously through certification, which meant he never ran a project. He wasn't ever going to do a leadership role. All he did is mentored, coached, and helped people. So we found a way so he could document some of his work to meet the requirements for certification. But we will make do with what we can. I think I've been through all the questions here. Back to my webinar. Again, questions, add a couple more if you have them. I have one more offer here. The sales side, Becky Breifogel, who's put this together. We are offering, if cost is one of the drivers that's keeping you from a master black belt class, what we're offering is a essay contest. If you are willing to put a one-page essay about why becoming a Master Black Belt will really help your job or your career, that will put you in a drawing for a half-price Master Black Belt class. And I guess it could be here or in Toronto or anywhere we teach them. You will still have to travel to get here, and unless you live in the Austin area, probably pick up a hotel. But it's a fun option if you want to get a break for it, if cost is a big driver. The people who, we did this once last year, and we brought in some great students that just had that extra barrier to getting in the class. If you choose to do that, the deadline for getting it in, I read here, is February 13th. Again, Friday the 13th. We're trying to turn that into a good day, not an ominous one. Mail it back to Becky, B-E-C-K-I, at smartersolutions.com. Or if you forget that, you can just do info, I-N-F-O, at smartersolutions.com. Just attach it up, and we'll draw from the ones that sound the best, and you have a shot at winning a class for half price. Love to have you do it. Whatever the reason, it's worth getting to one of these classes, even if that may be not a long-term career choice, but getting this done can really help you both get promoted and potentially find a better role in a company. See how I'm doing. I have answered all of my questions. If there's nothing else, I thank you for this. When you exit this webinar, there will be a survey that pops up on your screen. Really appreciate you answering it. We've put some voice of the customer questions in there. They may not be related to the webinar, but we really appreciate your answers. Some of it's about search engines. There's lots of interesting stuff out there. So thank you for your time, and good luck in your path to get a Master Black Belt. If you have any questions about it, there's more information on Master Black Belt training on our website. In our resource library, there's lots of reference material about how to pick a provider. And if you just want to give me a call, feel free. Go on our website, use the contact us. Write to me at rick, R-I-C-K.H, my last initial at smartersolutions.com, and I'd be glad to talk with you. Thank you very much for your time.